Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about ALPP, Alpine for Technologies. I usually don't do pink sheets, but this one has had a lot of requests, and it looks quite promising from just an overview. So I'm going to go through technical analysis, then I'm going to go through news, and then I'm going to go through a little bit through finances and my overview on the stock. So first things first, you're looking into the 1 month, 1 day perspective, and you get to see the MACD here is stable. There seems to be a good amount of growth over there, and it's not slowing down. So that's a good sign. It's definitely still in the trading action zone where it's between the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA, where reversals are likely to be seen. Now the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, so that's bearish, and the stock price is under the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA. The average directional index is sitting in a little bit at a little bit of a sloppy range here. You need to look a little bit into the 1 hour perspective in order to determine the next movement, and the willing percent R puts it at a neutral level. So moving on to the 1 hour perspective here, what we see here is that the MACD might actually be curving up towards a positive side. And that might be a bit of a good sign, but it's very much mimicking what it did on the 30th towards the 31st. So it's interesting to see if it actually does pull up and drive a little bit towards the positive range on Monday morning. Now, the average directional index does show that there is a possibility of a trend forming in a 24.32 after it crosses the 25. It's a strong indication that it would start a trend. Now, the stock is really close to the oversold part during the day on Friday, so that's interesting as well to see here. Looking in towards momentum, what we get to see here is that the stock is a little bit sloppy on the last day here. Not a lot of momentum movements, but it still looks a little bit promising with a little bit of a curve up on in the evening. Moving on, you get to see that the stock price, 10 SMA and the 30 SMA are touching, so that could be a good sign where the 10 SMA does shoot up above the 30 SMA, and that we'll consider bullish. Now, the stock price is above the 50 SMA on the 1 hour interval, so that considers it bullish. Now, moving on towards moving averages, we get to see the stock price is trading in within that moving average band here in cyan and purple in the middle. It is a little bit. It has had the chance before to trade in the upper half of the band. So the upper half of the band that goes between 0.06 and 0.07. I believe that's actually 0.065, rounds up to 0.07, and the down off the moving average band is around 0.05. Let's say 3. Moving on towards different supports and resistances and different trend lines. Now, before moving forward, so it appears that there is a trend line that hasn't been broken. The bottom of the trend line seems to be around 0.055. So that's a positive sign there. You can also consider that it is still holding in a good level when you're looking at it from this perspective. So that is as well a potential. Probably somewhere around there, but it's actually holding in a good support, sitting in around 0.58. So let's try to find the supports and resistances here. And what we get to see here right off the bat is there is a support sitting in a 0.06, and it seems that it has held it pretty nicely before. Another one here sitting in at around 0.058, and then a following Fibonacci retracement support 0.06. And then another one here from previously around 0.055, and just above that I missed is 0.056. Below, you're going to find 0.054, and then a Fibonacci support at a 0.052. And then we're looking after that around 0.051, and then 0.049. Now coming into resistances, what we get to see is there is a resistance at 0.061. Actually right here, and we get to see another one at 0.062, another one at 0.63, and another one at 0.64, but that's a Fibonacci resistance. Another one at 0.065, and you get to see basically the rest are playing very much on a similar basis around 0.067 ish. All right, so let's go on through news and dive in a little bit through the company's profile. So this is their company's website. They have a few companies under their portfolio. And so my understanding is that this company here does manage it acquires smaller companies and changes their strategic developments and tries to increase their worth before perhaps either getting revenue out of it or selling it. So they have different technologies. I'm not going to go through everything, but basically software, automotive, fabrication technology, electronic manufacturing, and even including construction. So they have one of their subsidiaries, A4 Construction, as well. Moving on towards different things like their growth. This is more off the march. So let's try to quick. Okay, so cash in hand. They do have just a little bit less, but the total current assets have increased. We're looking at a total assets of 39 million compared to 36 million. Looking at total liability, increased from 49 to from 40, almost 48. Their total liability and stockholder equities is around 39.4 million compared to 36, almost 36 million there. So that's a room for growth. Looks promising. Revenue here has increased as well, going in around 8.8 million compared to 7.1 million. Gross profit seems to be sitting in a little bit less, but cost of revenue has been a little bit more. Operating expenses is a little bit more, so loss from operations here we're looking at a little bit worse, but that was due to COVID actually hitting in, and the company was affected by it. So we're looking at 1.1 million compared to 350 million. Now the bottom line is a basic net income of 989,000 compared to 250,000 this year. Basic diluted, so loss per share for this one was so the basic income was 0, so break even, compared to 0.03 from last time. Look per share, we're looking at right now 0.01 per share loss compared to 0.03 on the quarter previous than that one, ending December 2019. So moving on, we're gonna get to compare different things. Let me just there we go. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at apparently right here we get to see there's proposing 14 million shares from up to time. Let's see here. There was a bit of an indication that I wanted to read. It was reading down a little bit low. Just give me one quick second here. It was related to their COVID-19 responses for the company and their shares to share basically value coming in for different quarters. So I'm just going to go through the summary here quickly. And what we're looking at is just assessing a little bit of the risk here and there. I'm just going to read this quickly. The share of the that relates to resale of other distribution for time to time up to 14 million shares of Alpine for Technologies. Nothing else there that seems to be sparking in, so just S1, another S1 form. This one here seems to be iterating the same fact. It was edited a little bit, so it just basically follows the same kind of news as the last one. Here's the quarter 2 debt reduction. It has been our objective to bring our debt in 2020, but COVID-19 made efforts an urgent necessity. Since April, the company has been able to restructure $3.5 million of debt. The restructuring of efforts yields some tremendous results, and the note holders, I thank you for working with us. The result has been the debt reduction yielded lower debt service by moving our okay, so nothing much there, but basically it says that they lowered the reduction they reduced their debt of roughly around $400,000 in overall debt, so a new balance of 3.1 million of debt. That is good news as well. So quarter 2 and quarter 3 for 2020, even with the harsh reality for company and many others faces uncertainty with COVID-19, it is still my belief that we will complete more acquisitions in 2020, continue to recover lost revenue due to COVID-19, and lost revenue in the quarter 3 and quarter 4, and finally continue to improve our balance sheet as the effort of our debt reduction keeps progressing. In the coming weeks, we will also announce our quarter 2 revenue guidance and also update our guidance for quarter 3. So looks like it's good news there. They are struggling a little bit with COVID-19, but moving on towards their previous balance sheets, and you get to see from 2019 to 2020, they did grow their assets by 129%, so they doubled it. The total assets 100%, and their shareholder equities increased by 4%. We're looking at a revenue increase here. I'm just going to zoom quickly just so you can see it better. At 97.4% revenue increase from 2019 to 2020, so doubling that. Their net loss or net income, the net loss has decreased by 60%. So that's good news. They halved their loss, going in from 7.9 million to 3.3 million in loss. So that is good news in terms of growth, and you get to see that 2019 revenue annually has been seeing a bit of good growth. Now moving on towards next catalyst, and you get to see that on August 3rd through 6th, there's going to be a conference for SNN Network Virtual Conference. And there's going to be 30-minute on August 4th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a 30-minute presentation happening for this one here. Mr. Wilson will also be available on August 5th and 6th on one-to-one meetings as well. You can register onto the link. So that's as well another interesting catalyst to come. Another thing here I'm looking at is this was the presentation live streamed on the 28th, and just because I do have an estimated here revenue for quarters 3 and 4 for 2020, we get to see that quarter 3 expected growth is at 24% over quarter 3 2019, and quarter 4 is a 44% expected growth in quarter 4 2019. So it looks like there is as well growth. Now I do listening in towards the conference, they did mention that there has been an aid from the COVID-19 fund, and that has decreased their effect on COVID-19 onto their operations. So sounds like there's good news there. Coming in towards the actual conference, I do expect the price to jump just quite a little, up to August 4th, perhaps, at least in the morning. That's my view on it. What do you think about the stock? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful day.